straight into action here of round 13 for both of these duelists. We already know what is at stake with a 10-2 record right now. Both of them playing and pushing to get into that all-exclusive top 8 finish. So you're going to be seeing how this one is going to play out. And Philip does not.
He's shaking his head. Is he playing with us and with Emre, or is that really a hand that doesn't offer much place? I mean, pre-preparation, right? I don't know whether I would shake my hand to that, but there is Ghostbelt on mention. This would have been a bluff of all time, because, I mean, if you shake your hand when seeing your first 5 cards, Emre is so incentivized to use that Ghost Spell on the pre-preparation of rides, followed up by Aramasa, so we still find the way into our Habakiri. So maybe Philip, as experienced as he is, as successful as he is at the moment, was just playing with Emre there.
Yeah, absolutely, because this is a very good start indeed. The pre-prep and then having access to the Habakiri. We see the Fumalos indeed, but we know that the Mitsurugi strategy can still play around that. And what better card than Call by the Grave to play around it? This is of course very, very good here. We have the Habakiri which will resolve, and we are in a very good position here for Philip, because we'll not only have access to the Mitsurugi part, but also to the Yami strategy probably after that. So yeah, pretty good position here for Philippe, considering the fact that Emre used 2 cards from his hand and did not do a whole lot.
Yeah, I also like that Philip adjusted his deck over time, because we all remember him being so successful at YCS Lille with the pure version of the Mitsurugi deck. But then at German Open, he also told me that in the winner's interview over there, he was like, yeah, the pure version, it just doesn't do it anymore. It doesn't have enough pushes. I had to add the Yummy cards. He was successful with those Yummy cards as well, then at German Open, taking it all undefeated, and he's still with those Yummy cards also here. And we have seen it plenty of times since Lille. There is an easy bridge between the Mitsurugi cards and those Yummy cards. I mean, you have to get somewhat lucky, but honestly, when you're sending 4 cards from your deck to the graveyard with Zombie Vampire, the chances of you seeing a Yummy card are so high, but there is a Bestial Magnamut, and Philip shakes his head. 3 pieces of interaction here from Emre. 1 has been stopped, but this looks massive because no Zombie Vampire anymore for Philip.
Absolutely, this is absolutely crucial here from Emre, and Philip like shaking his head because he wants to get access to those Yummy cards thanks to the Zombie Vampire, but you need to have those 2 monsters on the field, and in this situation he does not have access to it. The Murakumo is not there anymore, and Emre will on top of that be able to add a dragon from the deck to the hand, which will allow him to get some more resources for the next turn.
Yeah, this has been absolutely amazingly crafted from both Philip and Emre. We thought that maybe with the head shake of Philip, it would just be 1 single interaction that would do it, but he has tried to power through as much as he possibly can. We're now going to be trying to move over to Emre. Emre is possibly going to be searching out a Dracotail Mululu, I would highly assume.
Totally.
He is still in the end phase, does go with that Mululu, as it is of course a dragon monster. And I think Emre, he always is so smiley. He never seems like he could do any harm, but he has done some severe harm to the turn of Philip there, as Philip, with usually the best combo deck in the room, has ended on the single Aspie Little Knight after all those interruptions that Emre threw away. But there's a battle phase, clearing the Little Knight first, making sure that our Mululu possibly can go uninterrupted in main phase 2 then.
And yeah, that's a very good situation here for Emre, getting rid of the SP Little Knight and activating Branded Fusion right away. So he will just get so many resources out of this Branded Fusion, and Philip cannot do a whole lot about that. That's kind of hard for him right now. We talked about the fact that Mitsurugi Yumi was able to play through so many interruptions, but here, 3 of them is of course a whole lot, and that shows the strengths of the Dracotail strategy.
Ooh, look at that. Very often you see Albion being summoned from that, but usually it is not Albion the Sanctifier Dragon, but that's the one that Emre chooses here to summon out of that Branded Fusion. We now go for Lucius. It's all looking easy and good for him.
Yeah,
I totally see the hand there from Philip against so many matchups. You desperately want the Troll and Lockbird, but we gotta face it against this deck specifically. That's not really the case, and therefore game 1 goes to Emre quick and easy. 5 minutes after he went second. That was such a good hand from him there with those interruptions going second. Emre, man, I mean, I always only knew him as a man of Master Duel, a digital player, but he actually he got it with the real physical cards there.
Yeah, I think that if he could have cherry-picked any particular hand in the entire entire game. He got everything he needed. And that wasn't through just straight out, because we also saw the call by the Grave. It was very well held by Philip as well. And I think this is what is absolutely amazing when you're watching duelists of this caliber, is you see when you have that temptation of straight away, as soon as someone activates an interaction with you and you have a counter to it, you're instantly wanting to try and react straight away. But holding it back sometimes can make a big difference. Now, unfortunately, it didn't make a big difference in the outcome of this duel, but that still allowed Philip to push that little bit further forward. Rather than protecting the preparation of rights, he was able to go a different style of route, and I think this is very, very valuable.
Yeah, absolutely. And in this duel, we saw the strength of the Dracotail plays, because, of course, we have so many interactions. We had the Ghost Bell. We also had the Magnamut, which was absolutely crucial because it allows you to get some more engine. Of course, you can search some other bestials, but you also have access to something like a Pan or a Mululu in that case. And the fact that you are able to just get some resources back is very, very good in this strategy. But we saw the Yomi Mitsurugi strategy not do that well against so many interruptions. Usually, you still are able to go into something like a Zombie Vampire to get access to the Yomi cards, and it's going to be very interesting to see in the second game if he's able to just go through all those interactions. Remember, Emre, he had almost a perfect hand having those interactions, but also having some follow-up with the Branded Fusion and also the Mululu.
Definitely.
So,
but actually, let's face it, Bestials seem to be back in town, right? I think they weren't that popular over the last couple of weeks, but we saw even, for example, in the Vanquish Soul deck that Dinkabui was running in the last round, there were Bestials in there. We see Bestials here in the deck that Emre is piloting. I mean, we saw a Magnum with that one. It's kind of easy to include, but I think there might even be more of them. But overall, they seem to be back into the main action. Of course, Mitsurugi still a huge factor. Also, just banishing maybe an Albion from the graveyard or something like that can always help. Philip will need some help now, but he at least has the favorable position to go first in the second game. So let's go back into the action. Game 2 starts now.
Yeah, so there are some very interesting cards in Philip's side that I highly expect will be coming into this particular type of matchup. So we're going to see if he gets any luck with there. We can see straight away that he has gained direct access to his Yummy strategy, and we're going to see that kick off right now.
Starting off with the Marshmallow Yummy, and not only there is a way from your Mitsurugi cards to your Yummy cards, but it also works the other way around due to the existence of that Herald of the Arclight, which I'm sure we are going to see here. But first of all, that Marshmallow Yummy makes way for Yummy Snatchy.
Yeah, absolutely, and this is a very good start, obviously, because we don't use here the normal summon on the side of Philip, which is of course pretty cool, but we still have the Magnamut, and look at that, Philip smiling, he's laughing, but he doesn't like that, of course. We are not going to be able to use the Field Spell to try to revive this monster, but we have access to the Lollipop, and we're going to get access to the Synchro too, which is of course very good. We will have the Cup C, which will resolve, so we'll have some more engine, and for now we only see the Yummy, but as you just said, there is some very easy bridges to go into the other part of the deck, and it's going to be very interesting if to see if Emre has something to just cut this other part of the deck.
Yeah, and with the Mitsurugi Yummy deck, it's actually not that many Yummy monsters you're playing in the main deck anymore. Very often you only see the triple Marshmallow and then only one of each of the smaller ones, like one Lollipop, one Capsi, and therefore we are only just searching another Marshmallow here, which we discard, okay, which is fair because the other one is banished at this point, and then we can get that Capsi onto the field. But what now from here on out, Philip? You know your own deck inside out, but now with that Magnum with interrupting with your plans early on, can you still produce a combo that is worthwhile?
And it's going to be very interesting to see if Emre has something more, because we saw 3 interruptions during the last game. Of course, it was what you want against the Yumi Mitsurugi strategy, because it is so powerful, so strong, it can go through so many things. You want to have a lot of them, because one of them is not gonna prevent them from playing the game. So it's gonna be very cool.
Okay.
See?
For a moment it looked like he was passing or something like that, but sure enough he does not.
Not.
And look at that. before those lines into the Mitsurugi engine were figured out, you would be like, okay, that's just Herald pass, but we just link off that Herald of Arclight in the extra monster zone into Gravity Controller, and guess what? There is all of a sudden an Havakiri in the hand, maybe the most powerful ritual monster to ever be created, and that's going to lead to a very, very flourishing way here for Philip.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing to watch this because Philip is staying calm and collected, so is Emre. It's always going to be a battle of the minds and the wits at the exact same time. And you can kind of see there are positions where Philip kind of thinks about the type of plays he could make. What is the most risky? Does he have to take the riskiest route? Because if Emre does have an interaction at that particular point, it might derail the plays. But being able to know exactly how you can adapt and push through and continue to move is going to be pivotal in this one. And like I said, Emre is just staring down this field, not even taking a blink.
Yeah, absolutely. But if he doesn't have anything, it's going to be very hard, to be honest, to just go through that field, because of course it is very, very strong once it's there with the Murakumo and all the Yami cards. It can be very, very difficult. But Emre, at least, is going to have access to another card at the end of the turn, which is, of course, pretty cool, which will give him 6 cards at the beginning of his turn to try to break the field.
Yeah, and I have to say, there is still a debate going on for all the Mitsurugi Yami players, how to best play the deck. Are you going to play a minimal Mitsurugi package with just only the Saji and then no Futsu, or are you going a little bigger? Are you also going to run that Futsu and then Kusanagi and Aramasa? And as we see here, Philip maybe ending that debate here this weekend by showing us that playing the bigger full package is possibly the best way you can do, and maybe that is going to be the guideline moving forward for this deck as well. Go Yami Surprise, summons back the Marshmallow. Marshmallow gives the Yami Surprise back basically for free. And now, as Gravity Controller is a Link 1, we can just easily use it here for Synchro Summon. It still feels weird saying that. We're using a Link 1 for Synchro Summon, but that's how Yami does. That's how it goes. And we make way for the next Synchro monster here.
Especially because usually Gravity Controller, when it's there, it doesn't leave the field that easily. But I always like the fact that you're able to get very creative with those bridges, and the fact that you can just get some archetypes working very well together. I really like that. The fact that Zombie Vampire in the extra monster zone, you can just get into a Gravity Controller, which is a Link 1, and then you go into your Synchro plays. This is so cool to watch. And here, Philip is just showcasing how strong this deck is. Even with the presence of the Magnamut, he shows that you can still have a very, very strong field.
Yeah, I think there's still loads more to be seen from Philip, and Emre is not going to be giving this one up without a fight as well. What I also do like about the Mitsurugi strategy, and it's kind of something utilising the Mulchummies, is mainly they are used as hand interactions. But what I really like about the Yummy strategy is you can use it as not your best starter, but it can become a starter to go into a Link 1 like Salamangreat, Almirage. But we're going to see all of this keep pushing through, ending on that all-important Herald of the Arclight, and still continue to go.
Ooh, and even Futsu, we got the full setup here.
Yeah.
You might be wondering, wasn't that Herald of Arclight used for the Link summon of that Gravity Controller? But thanks to that Shamisen Samsara Sorrowcat, we were able to put it back into the extra deck, and now afterwards Synchro summon it for a second time.
And that's obviously very strong, because the Herald of Arclight is of course an Omni-Negate, but also it prevents Emre from putting some cards from the deck and hand to the graveyard, and you want those monsters to get into the graveyard. So you first have to get rid of the Herald, and this is not an easy task.
Yeah, and it doesn't end there. I told you it's a bigger Mitsurugi package in the deck of Philip, and we were even going that far saying we're playing the Great Purification in the main deck, actually, which is definitely something interesting to see here. There's a Link summon coming our way now to the perfect setup. It's looking dreamy here for Philip. Puts every single card from his hand into his spell and trap zone. This is massive.
Yeah, Emre will need a lot of luck to just go through all of this, and he's gonna need the perfect combination. During the last game, he had a perfect combination with a lot of interruptions, and as well as some very strong engine, thanks to the Burn Diffusion. But this time, I mean, he's gonna need like 6 perfect cards.
And he's going to start it off with Malulu. Okay, we searched for Urgula because we had the Malulu already in hand. Okay. No response from Philip's side. Branded Fusion once more. I think if you play Ultimate Rare Branded Fusion, you're going to draw it twice as often. And Emre has drawn it both games now as well.
But you have to be scared of those cards face down, of course, which are some more interruptions. And what can we expect from those cards? There might be something like maybe... Can we expect something like Infinite Impermanence or Forbidden Droplet or those cards?
We could. I think two of them are definitely safe to say that it's going to be the Great Purification and Yummy Surprise. Besides that, what else could we have? I think Infinite Impermanence could be something. Maybe. Called by the Grave, yeah. Also, Crossout Designator could go into the same category because both of them could have not really interacted with the Bestial Magnamute that Emre was using, and that Crossout Designator, also now can't really hit too many things. So it will be interesting to see whether Philip will even have the chance to activate those other two cards there in the Spell Trap Zone. Okay, resolving Branded Fusion, and of course, as the Herald is still face up on the field, cards from the deck, monsters from the deck will have to be banished instead of going into the graveyard, which now, when we summon out Lubellion, though, is not that big of a deal, but we do not even go for that. But
once again, we use the Sanctifier, and that's very interesting to go into that monster specifically.
Yeah, so it's quite interesting with Sanctifier because it can't be targeted, but the biggest difference with some of the Mitsurugi cards, and this is where it gives you a little bit edge over a pure Yummy strategy, is they just don't need to target.
That's true, that Murakumo could still get rid of it, but Philip... Do we go after this Sanctifier here? Is Emre maybe announcing the end of main phase, trying to go after that Herald? Oh, Philip, look, he's going back deep into that thinking tank. We already know that pose from YCS Bologna. We can barely even see him anymore in the face cam because he's just so in the zone.
Yeah, just checking exactly how many cards Emre has left in the hand, just to kind of calculate how many interactions he may have or how much further he can push. It's starting to starve off a bit of the resource here. We've already lost at Dracotail, Frixel getting to banished, and it looks like we're going to get some form of reaction here from Philip. There's a lot of set cards there, and it's going to be Purification, and Emre scoops it up from that point on.
I mean, sounds kind of logical, to be honest. The field from Philip was so strong, so many interactions, so many cards that you could activate to try to interrupt your opponent. Emre using the Bestial Magnamute, but as we said during the last game, you need a lot of interactions if you want to be able to stop that Yummy Mitsurugi deck, which is obviously very, very strong. Having access to both engines is, of course, absolutely extraordinary because you can literally bridge between the two of them and use one of them to try to bait some interaction, then being able to get totally free with the other engine. And I mean, we saw that during that game. The fact that you are able to just go through all your engines, use the Herald of Arclight not only as a disruption but also as a bridge, and then have so many cards that can interact with your opponent. What a deck it is.
I think the real core concept against this deck has to be to stop it while it is trying to build that field, because breaking that field, it almost sometimes feels impossible, and really was an impossible challenge to Emre here in that very game too.
Yeah, I think this is going to be quite interesting because as we move into game number 3, this is going to be the first time that Emre is going to be able to go first. If he does choose to, he might want to try and throw a little bit of a curveball in there, but I highly expect him to be going first. On the flip side of that as well, when we look at Philip's side deck, there are 2 very, very important cards that I would like to see by this point in the tournament Emre is very well versed with and very well expecting what may or may not come up. One of those cards is something that I've been seeing a lot in the current meta being considered as a side option in order to you to counteract those incredibly powerful trap cards that we have seen pretty much all weekend. The Dracotails can very easily access. So hopefully
I know where you're going.
We might get to see that. If we don't, it might be to Emre's advantage here.
Fair enough, but Emre, does he even know how to play going first? Because he has played so well there in game 1 going second, and now he will be confronted with that situation almost that he will be the one playing cards first. But I'm sure with him having such a solid record here already in this tournament that he will be absolutely okay with that, and he is playing that Dracotail deck for the last couple of weeks. I saw him at those big German regionals as well. He has always been with the Dracotail cards, was very happy to include the branded cards as well into it, and at this point is just so experienced with the deck. Him and that deck basically becoming a union together. It is what it is. And so what would be the best card for, I mean, have we seen Retaliating Sea all weekend long on one? Because
Not
that is
yet.
considered to be one of the best side deck options against the Dracotail deck as well.
Yep.
But we didn't really get to catch it anyway, I feel like.
No, I feel it kind of lends itself best to the Mitsurugi Yummy strategy. As we have seen previously, the Mitsurugi started to integrate Dimension Fissure, and they didn't really mind so much about their cards being banished. So with Retaliating Sea, because both players end up banishing their cards, it does give a bit more of a benefit that way, when I feel that that is one of the best cards to possibly be utilized in the Yummy strategy. And we are about to see exactly what cards are going to be utilized here. So we're going to be taking it straight back to the table for that all-important Game 3.
And we are actually entering the Game 3 between those two players, Philip and Emre, trying to get their 11th victory over here and to stay alive in that long-awaited run for the top 8. And we are starting actually with the 5-mana right away, fusing another 5-mana and also a Norgula. So pretty good start here, because we are going to get access to all the resources. We summon the Arsalian, and we'll probably just get access to the K2 and the Rao.
I mean, this going uninterrupted is then, as a result, pretty decent because it gets us playing. It's not the most optimal start though, right? Because usually you want to have 5 mana in the hand to chain it to a possible Mochami Fuvalos or something like that, but using it as your first action really makes you vulnerable to those cards. But luckily enough here for Emre, Philip apparently no intention of using any of those cards.
Yeah, absolutely, and looks like for the moment there is nothing in Philip's hand, which is pretty cool, but it is important to highlight the fact that Yomi Mitsurugi is also very good going second, because you have access to so many good tools to try to get rid of the opponent's field, considering the fact that the Mitsurugi cards, I mean, they are so powerful. Once you resolve the ritual, it is so good.
But there is an Ash Blossom and Joy Spring, so Philip does have something here that he wants to use. And Emre shuffling his deck? I don't know, that doesn't feel like too good of a sign when you're shuffling your deck to give it over. Does that mean our turn also is over? Sets one more card. One Ash Blossom stopping the entire turn essentially from Emre. That's massive.
Okay, that's not over yet. Why? Because you still have access to this 5 mana in hand, so you will be able to fuse something away. And
but draw
we
phase.
set a card.
Draw phase
So
prayers is huge. No tribute though, so we're only going to be able to search for a card here if even Emre allows that.
we're going to think about it. And yeah, the flame is being... The flame is being activated, but we have the Ghost Bell on Philip's hand to try to get rid of it. And all of a sudden, I mean, Emre's field doesn't feel that great into the Yami Mitsurugi strategy, because Philip didn't activate a whole lot yet.
That's definitely true. Ghostbound Haunted Mansion is as popular as ever before, mainly due to that Dracotail deck being the most represented deck in the room. It's so good against it. It has some very solid overlay as well against that Mitsurugi deck as well, and therefore it's one of the most represented hand interactions in everybody's deck here this weekend.
Yeah, as we're seeing the Habakuri resolve here, it obviously lets you check a little bit for a hand interaction in the form of Ash Blossom Joy Springs. And there is the Ash Blossom and Joy Springs on the Sargi.
Hey.
But there is Mitsurugi Ritual already! We don't need Sargi to resolve because Ritual was hard drawn. That's huge. Philip completely taking control. He is currently the most consistent player in Europe in this season, and we see here that he is trying his best, and Emre is smiling. He knows he's in trouble.
Yeah, he actually is in a big trouble. We only don't know one card, which is the last card set on Emre's side. But the last card in Emre's hand is, of course, this 5 mana, which will not lead to a whole lot. Emre deciding to Ash Blossom the Sagi, which was, I think, the right decision.
But I mean, that means now 5 mana, if it is activated, we can just chain our Murakumo, so there is no other cards to discard anymore. So 5 mana all of a sudden, not that big of a threat anymore.
And it doesn't do anything, so yeah.
Emre, what is our last set card there? That was the one we set before ending our turn, and maybe, can it help us?
We'll need something great to get out of the situation.
Oh, just destroying the Aphelion, that's not great news. Also resolving the Habakiri that was tributed, so Philip gets even further access to his Mitsurugi cards.
to be fair, this engine is so strong. We've talked about it, but the fact that you are able to resolve the ritual Mitsurugi is of course very, very strong. You get access to so many resources as well as getting rid of the opponent's field. And I mean, you put a lot of pressure on your opponent because of course he used a lot of cards from his hand, and the fact that the Murakumo makes you discard one other card to just try to resolve your effect is so strong. I mean, the Mitsurugi card, so powerful.
They are, and Emre really only left with that last set card there. It better be a good one. But Philip right now in the driving seat. And you could really tell, like, by the gestures and the faces that Philip is making. Even though he's shaking his head there, he is feeling much better already.
He's shaking his head with the pre-prep plus a call by and everything, so...
fair,
Considering that...
He's a good actor for real, yeah. And there now is Kapsuyami flying onto the field. We have access to both engines. This is the dream scenario. This is where this deck thrives. This is where we search Mitsurugi Yami. And yep, that is another smile on both sides. It's always great. Whenever Emre can be winning or losing, he will always give you a smile. And that's what's so great about him.
I totally agree on this one. And yeah, we can now see the Yami strategy, and I think that this might just be it. Philippe performing his combo, and he will just go through the field spell to try to get back another monster on the field and just keep going. And it's going to be, I guess, probably soon. We have the horn, but no response, and we are going to discard the Urgula.
So this is actually really important because we still have that Feymaner in the hand, correct? So we're
going for 2 cards in hand.
Yeah, so we're going for the random draw to. This is the Feymaner. We still need 2 more monsters, correct? So I don't think it changes a huge amount.
It looks like Emre doesn't have hand interaction, to be honest.
Snatchy, can Philip snatch away that win here from Emre in game 3, going second? Goes for a Synchro Summon now with that Link 1. As we've previously discussed, that is very possible in this deck, of course. That's how this deck is designed to be.
Crucial moment.
Oh, okay, Aphelion. 2 monsters were sent to the graveyard.
This could be huge. Bring back the Aphelion, and then if you have the Feymaner in hand, which we already know, and the monster was drawn, we could lead ourselves into another Aphelion to recycle some materials.
Absolutely. We are going to get back 2 monsters from the graveyard, thanks to the effect of the Synchro, but let's see if Emre can activate the 5 mana at some point.
Still trying to hold the last resort here against Philip's wall of monsters that keep on getting more and more. Emre just left with that one Aphelion now, but can he turn it into a fusion summon? Can there be another piece of interaction? We will see shortly. But before that, Philip is resolving both effects of his Synchro actually. First, we have Chain to the effect of Aphelion to bring back 2 monsters, but also, of course, Chain Link 1, we declared the effect to search as well. So searching 2 Yami cards here, and then discarding 1 after. Cookie Yami, one of the one-offs, and then the Majmao as well, which has not been used this turn yet, but will be discarded to the graveyard. All right. Keeps on Synchro Summoning. Do we just go into the same one again? Probably not, as we have used that on-field effect already. Both of them, actually. So, which one is that going to be? Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
You just bring back 2 other monsters, and it does make a lot of sense. You are just extending a little bit your recurrence. Finally! The 5 mana is being activated. Do we have something great in hand? What did we draw of the trap card? That is a very good question, and it might as well decide the result of this game.
Pan could be absolutely huge.
True.
Is it Pan?
Emery's got us on the edge of our seats. This is incredible viewing.
Oh, what is it? What is it,
Emre? See it
Show us.
Soon.
Oh, it's just Lucius. It's just
not
Lucius.
the best
That
one,
is a fusion summon. That will not do too much here, right on the spot.
Ooh!
Mysterion Dragon comes in.
That is a very, very good card indeed. Mysterion being able to just try to banish some monsters of the field of Philip. And yeah, this card, not really seen a lot, but still very, very good in some matchup, especially the Yami matchup.
Yeah, this can make a bit of a difference, and you can see that Philip reading this card might make a bit of a difference in his kind of route of play from this point on and trying to understand how to navigate around it correctly, if he can correctly. We still need to resolve the Dracotail Lucas as well in the graveyard to set up Emre, a possible bit of advantage for the next turn if it does get back there, but it does put a stumbling block in Philip's way for taking this round 13.
Yeah, maybe Philip in his head already was kind of wrapping it up, was kind of just already trying to figure out the finishing touches. Okay, we do now, of course, still also resolve the Lucius. That gives us follow-up for next turn. But Philip ain't done just yet.
And to be honest, I didn't see the Mysterium coming, and of course it was a very, very logical answer. And the fact that...
Oh,
yeah, because...
this looks huge, actually.
Yeah, totally, totally. It was probably the only card that allowed Emre to just earn another turn, because you get rid of so many scenes.
He stopped Philip in his tracks completely, and he has to pass it over just with the Murakumo and the set card. And Emre, speaking of set cards, already has, of course, also his K2 Dracotail set there. What are we going to draw here? Oh, also resource in the graveyard. I can see Emre winning this all of a sudden again.
Yeah, totally. Even if there is the Murakumo on the field, of course, we are going to activate the effect and try to lower the amount of resources that Emre has in hand. And that's going to be very interesting. Do you choose to discard, or you just let the effect get negated? I think Emre is just thinking about that right now. But there is a world where you just accept it.
Yeah, I think
you activate
Retaliating Sea! We mentioned it, we spoke it into existence here. And there it is, coming out of the hand. The only unknown card remaining there for Philip in his hand, next to a yummy cookie. That's a huge point.
Yeah, absolutely, because Emre, I think that he could very well win this one before the retaliating, but the retaliating is a huge step in the favor of Philip. Of course, getting all your monsters getting banished instead of being in the graveyard. I mean, this is almost impossible to play around that, considering the fact that Emre doesn't have a lot of cards in hand.
Lulu, normal summon. Lulu effect as well.
Is there something?
Philip. Emre has another card in hand, so seems like we can fusion summon, so it must be another monster. Chaining Mitsurugi, Prayer's Bow, tributes the Murakumo.
Yeah.
Oh, fusion summons.
Oh, it was great. It was so good.
Actually, it was such a good one, yeah. It was such an insane one. Searches for the Habakiri, Spashed summons out the Saji. And that Murakumo, even though banished, can still activate its effect to at least search here.
Yeah, what do we go for from Emre's side? We could
go
for...
That is a good question.
We've used 2 dragons, so unfortunately Secturion Dragon is off of the table. But then maybe our Phalion, being able to get you a bit of resource back, could be quite useful. I mean, you've got Lucius in the graveyard. Thaymane is probably not going to do as much for you. We've already used Urgler's effect to try and recycle there. It does become very, very interesting. Taking that Retaliating Sea off the field is going to be very, very important, but that will guarantee that Philip will have another turn in this duel.
Yeah, absolutely, but I don't really see the winning play over here, because we didn't use a whole lot from the hand, so the Arcadian is not going to get some resources back, as well as disrupting the opponent. And during the... Yeah, we are going to get the Ash back to try to interrupt Philip during the next turn. But yeah, there is no winning play, to be honest. There is absolutely no winning play, and it's going to be the victory here for Philip, getting his 11th win and still in for the top 8 race, which is pretty cool. Of course, very hard for Emre. He couldn't do it, actually, but very, very good game. We saw the Mysterion, we saw the Retaliating Sea, which was absolutely crucial, considering the fact that there was the Pan in hand, which would have been such a great fusion material being sent to the graveyard. So, Yami Mitsurugi won this one, and we saw all the power of this deck during this round.
And interestingly enough, we had 2 games that were one going second here in this one as well. So I talked to a lot of people that going first right now is, as per usual, as traditionally in Yu-Gi-Oh! Like very, very strong. But we got proven differently here again in this match where we had that happen 2 times. But the going second player was able to just go off. Did Philip draw the Retaliating Sea for turn there? Must have not necessarily been the case, even because there were not much spell cards activated from Emre's side even on the first place, so it could have been in his opening hand. Not entirely sure though.
Yeah, I think it was very, very interesting, whether he had it at the start, whether or not, but using it at the prime point for that one there kind of really stifled exactly what Emre was trying to do. But then Emre completely surprising most players by bringing in the Dragon Crown. That really did make it a little bit more awkward for his opponent to navigate, but Philip there showing exactly why he is at top of the world's leaderboard. Both duelists are probably less so Emre, but he's still going to be in a shout for the top end of the kind of brackets to get a bit more additional prizing. But then Philip is going to be powering his way through to try and get into that top 8.
that
Yeah.
prestigious top 8. And I mean, imagine, it would have already been quite the accomplishment before the tournament structure
Yeah.
changed to make top 8 back-to-back. But it's even more impressive now with the new rules, right? Just finishing in the first 8 spots of Swiss after 15 rounds of Swiss. Like the first 8 spots, that's so hard to accomplish. So maybe he can do it again. I think Diego Zilia, actually, our winner of YCS Lille, also still is out there in the running. So we could even have 2 people like that make it. But first of all, we want to talk, of course, to Philip, as he has just won that very important round 13. So why don't we give it over to our analysis corner with Philip.
Thanks so much, Seb. I'm here with Philip, winner of our round 13. First of all, playing a friend, how does it feel like? You know, you won. Tell me, your feelings at the moment. Yeah.
Like, to be honest, Emre and me, we are so close. I would rather play like everyone else in the room, like at X2. But sometimes you gotta be like that, and yeah, you just have to play it out, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, and in the end, I think it was today was your day. So 11-2 is pretty solid record. So two more essentially. Like your thoughts? How's the tournament going? What did you lose to?
I lost to the Lunar Light guy, the Greek guy.
Yeah.
He's pretty good, and it was in, I think, round 7. Then I lost in round 9 to Yoho.
Okay.
So 2 pretty good players. I think both are losable. It's okay. To be honest, I wasn't feeling that great before the event because, I don't know, the format is not in the best spot right now, I think, because like there's no on paper best deck. So it's hard to prepare, but you do the best. So I didn't felt that comfortable, but right now with 11-2 again,
Pretty
I think I
solid.
just should do my best and get comfortable right now.
Pretty solid, yeah. And I mean, talking about the match itself. So essentially, game 1.
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to have a few highlights. I really feel like
That's not a highlight.
Yeah, I mean, I think the highlight was you shaking your head at the very beginning. I think you already knew what was going to happen, essentially, right?
Yes. No, the problem is that I summoned from hand because I don't know why I forgot I normally summon Aramasa, so I had no way back into the full engine, so I just tried it, and like every time you misplay like that, you get punished for it.
Punished.
So
Exactly.
it's
Every
deserved.
single
So
time.
game 1,
that's how it is. Yes.
I didn't know what I should do because I had 2 draws in hand.
Yeah, no,
It
but
was like-
especially I think
yes.
Emre's end was
Pretty good.
quite good. It also had the Magnamut, and
Yeah,
here
it's okay.
for game 2 he had Magnamut again.
Yes.
But I mean, I feel like overall your hand was like very good.
This is still game 1.
This is still game 1. Yeah,
Yeah.
just want to show you essentially how he
The
closed
game
it
was
out.
over at this point
Yeah,
as well.
I think the game
whatever.
was over. I mean, you were just a witness more than a player here at this moment. And for game 2, essentially, I feel like you redeem yourself. Because I think this is one of the best openers we have seen this weekend, especially because Emre didn't really have a way to stop you, essentially. I think you were pretty much satisfied with this, right? I mean,
I didn't understand you,
I
sir.
think you were pretty much satisfied with this. I think there was not much that Emre could have done, essentially.
At this point at the game, like I know the Mululu is the only thing that can do something, so I tried to take it out as early as possible. So you can see my sets were crossout, droplet, and the trap.
Punishment as well, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so I was
and
just
yes.
thinking what I'm trying to use because I didn't want to spend the Murakumo here. But I think at the end, so as long as Harold is on the field, he can't do anything after the normal sum, so it's fine.
And so you tied the score, so it was 1-1. And game 3 was a bit madness because essentially, I think there was a point in which I think you had it, and then there was the Mysterion coming onto the field, which is something
I didn't expect it.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't expect it either because this is something that you don't really see often, right?
Yes.
Especially, at top tables, I think most of the players are not playing this card, right?
Yes.
And I feel like, did you think for a second maybe, okay, maybe I can lose this one out, or no?
No, at this point I knew he is just on like 1 card, so he gets the Keto back. My hand is retaliating C prayers, and the what is it called? Cookie.
Yeah.
So I know I just go over the battle phase, try to Murakumo. So I watch his grave. The Urgula is the first thing that will happen probably. I negate it if he takes it back, so I have the retaliating C afterwards and can nuke the field if anything comes down, so I wasn't afraid at all.
Yeah, I mean, especially because, as you mentioned, essentially next turn there's the retaliating C coming onto the field, and pretty much here Emre is just left with no more other options. I think it was a very, very well played for both of you here in this game 3. I think you just showed off how both of the decks are powerful. So congratulations for bringing it home, and hopefully we will get the chance to see you again on stream. Best
I
of
hope so.
luck.
Thank
Best
you, bro.
of luck. And no, don't go anywhere because we will be back soon for the Route 14 of YCS Bologna.